good evening. How are you all today? And welcome back again for a new book review today. I'm pretty interested in sharing this book with you today. I'm always interested in sharing books, but this one is very special. Now, why this one is very special is because you are going to learn how to teach our kids to say no to something, which I find is very difficult. People pleasing is what we have always believed in. Whether you are happy about certain situation or not is not actually very important for us, but the society we live in has always taught you to make others happy, right? And whether it's our mothers, we have seen our mothers doing it as examples, and we have been following their examples. And I will be teaching the same thing probably to my daughter, knowingly or unknowingly, which I don't want her to learn. I don't want her to be people pleasing. I want her to say no to things which she finds are not correct according to her understanding, or something which will not make her very happy doing, right? So we it is very important thing to teach your child to say no to situations which they don't want to enter into, or they don't find it valuable, or they don't find wasting time for, right? But sometimes, due to a lot of situations or a lot of things at home, they tend to agree to things which they know that will make their parents happy, or their grandparents happy, or their friends happy, just to be in the group, to avoid the peer pressures that they are having. So once they cross that age of learning, that will become their habit of pleasing other people around them. So this is the correct time when you can introduce this word no to them through this book. So today's book is Don't Let the Pigeon Drive the Bus. What do you think it is going to be about? Don't let the pigeon drive the bus. Very simple. Okay. The plot here says it is about a bus driver who has to leave for certain reasons. So he asks the reader to not allow the pigeon to drive the bus. There are these three characters: the bus driver, the pigeon, and the reader. The reader is also playing a role here in the book. And the reader has to make sure that the pigeon does not drive the bus, because who drives the bus? A driver, a bus driver, a trained person drives the bus, and not a pigeon. Okay? So you have to say no. Throughout the book, the pigeon tries to convince the reader that he is a very good driver. He has got all the skills, and he can just try a little bit and show him and display his talent to him of driving the bus. But the reader is very adamant. He says no. So this is a beautiful book. It is written by Mo Willems, and it is his first book on children. Now it is a set of 7 books and is available on Amazon. The PDF of all the books is also available, and it is on YouTube. You will find a good amount of read alouds done on this book. Now, for ages from 3 to say 6, 3 to 6 years, you can do a read aloud with them. Children older than 6 years can read it on their own. Why to read this book? As I told you, why do you read this book to your tots? Knowing why to read this book is very important. Now, the pigeon has this aspiration of driving a bus, and it helps us to explore the responsibility to keep promises. Okay, so here, when the bus driver leaves the bus on the as a responsibility on the heads of the reader, and says that you have to make sure that this pigeon does not drive the bus, then you are responsible now. Okay, so when in the absence of your mama, when she says that you are not supposed to go near the gas stove, or you are not supposed to open the door to the strangers, so she is holding you responsible for this situation, right? So you have to teach them through this book. What you can teach them is responsibility of keeping the promises done to others. I promise mom I will not talk to the strangers on the way from school, right? I promise mom I will not have more than 2 chocolates in a week. So what is the responsibility when you say that you promise? right? It is a responsibility that you keep the promise. This is one thing that you can teach your children from this book. Your child will enjoy, and it will not be a boring lecture from the old mom and dad, right? Why do you keep on lecturing us all the time? You don't understand. It is not going to be like that. It is going to be wonderful when you read this book and teach them along with it. It is not going to be boring for them. Persuasion is another thing that you will teach them. How people try to persuade you into a situation, right? They will convince you, they will give you so many options. I'll give you a chocolate. You will be very popular among kids. You should do this. You should lie about it to your parents. They'll never know about it. See, these things influence children a lot, right? They are so vulnerable. That's why there are a lot of crime against little children, because they believe, they trust easily. So what you have to teach them is, you might get persuaded by a lot of people around you, by your own friends, your own family members, but you do not have to get persuaded. And the value of punishment, right? I do believe punishments are important. I do not say physical punishments, I do not say abusive words to them, but if there is certain things that they have to learn, they have to learn. And if it comes through consequences, then they have to learn it through consequences, right? It is very, very important to make them understand that when they are given a responsibility, they are supposed to keep the promise of the responsibility that is given to them. However the other person persuades you, you have to, you are the owner of your own decision, no matter what. And the punishment, here the word punishment is not actually appropriate. I should say consequence. If you are not taking your responsibilities seriously, then there are consequences for it, right? Now, Flipkart rates the book 4.6 out of 5, and Goodreads rates it 4.3 out of 5, which is really, really a good rating. Now I will also try to tell you that how will you read this book. So when you start reading, first few times, if your younger ones are really young, between the ages of 3 to 5, you have to do read aloud, as I said, and they will start giggling and shaking their head and start saying no, no, no with the book. For this, let me display the book to you. I will share my screen with you again. Okay. Okay. See, this is how it looks. Don't let the pigeon drive the bus. Okay. Now here, if you see, it's a picture book with good lot of illustrations here. Hi, I'm the bus driver. Listen, I've got to leave for a little while. So can you watch things for me until I get back? Thanks. Oh, and remember, don't let the pigeon drive the bus. And now the pigeon is peeping. Can you see that? I thought he'd never leave. So the pigeon was waiting for the driver to leave, okay? And he's saying, I thought that the driver will never leave. Thank goodness he has left. And now, hey, can I drive the bus? Please. I'll be careful. I tell you what, I'll just steer. So he's trying to persuade, he's trying to convince you, okay? Please let me drive the bus. I'll be very careful. I'll just hold on to the steer. I'll not do anything else. My cousin Herb drives the bus almost every day. Swear it's a true story. Now what to say, he's thinking. Vroom, vroom, vroom. Pigeon at the wheel. No? Are you still saying no to me? So when you are reading this book, they will, from initially only, once you read, twice you read, when you do it for the third time, they will say no. I'll be careful. The readers, like your kids, will say no, no, no. I tell you what, I'll just steer. No, no, no. Okay, so teach them to say no. you are not convinced. Okay, you teach them that however the pigeon tries to convince you, your responsibility is to not get convinced, right? So they will, along with you, they will say no, 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 no. That is what they are going to say. Now, so they will understand that there is this word no, which is to be said when you are not supposed to do something, right? Or you don't want to do something. On further readings, when you start reading further, you can pose questions to them. Okay, you will explain scenarios to them, right? When mother goes out and leaves you alone, you have a small sibling at home, and he says, can you open the fridge and get me that chocolate? No, 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 I'll have a little bit of it. No, no, mother has said no. Okay, I'll even share it with you. I'll share my part with you. You understand? So you can talk about these things with them. You can give them real life situations where they have to say no. When you hold them responsible, I'm going out, you please take care of your little brother, and you are not supposed to eat anything sweet from the fridge today, right? And so the responsibility becomes of the elder one in the house. When reading the pages where Pigeon uses a variety of different tactics to try to convince the reader to let it drive the bus, it's giving us the opportunity to bridge such topics of consent. So these topics are of real discussions among them, right? You have to probe these questions to them. Did you see how many times the pigeon is trying? He is giving true story examples that my cousin Herb's drive, and then he's still, why no, you're saying no, I never get to do anything, and now he's getting emotional, right? You have to talk about it, that even if people get emotional with you, if you find that it is not worth doing, it's okay, don't do it. If you don't do it for me, I will not talk with you. It's okay if you don't want to talk with me. Teach them that it is okay if people don't agree with you, but if you are responsible for something and you are supposed to guard it, you should guard it at any cost. Hey, I've got an idea. Let's play drive the bus. You see how many tactics this pigeon is using to really convince you, really convince the reader to let him drive the bus. But I am the responsibility. I cannot allow the pigeon to drive the bus. I have promised the driver. I will not, I will not, I will not. You understand? This is how we are going to teach our children to stick on to what they think is right. We are not teaching them to be stubborn. Please remember this. The situations are very different when they get stubborn and when they do not understand the value of this little word no, right? Now, or who to trust, right? You have to teach them who to trust. Now, we don't know whether a pigeon can drive a bus. I have never seen a pigeon drive a bus. How you will trust on a pigeon, right? You will have to give them open ended questions. What would you do if you were in the place of the pigeon? What would you do if you were in the place of the driver? Then ask them, can you think of a time when you were all alone in the house and a stranger came? Will you open the door? Visit your responsibility. What if he probes that I know your mother? I'm the friend of your mother. I talked to her on the phone. She said she's coming in 5 minutes. But remember, your mother told you not to open the door. Then what are you going to do? Are you going to open the door? Are you going to get convinced? Or you are going to wait for your mother to come and help you in the situation? These are very important things that you have to talk to your child. But many a times when you tell them not to do it up phrase or up front, they will not like it. They might not like it. Okay, they might feel that you are nagging parents and you don't trust them, which is not the same. When your child is 3.45 to 5 years old, they don't think all these things, right? They will blindly trust. If mother has said no, no. If the teacher has said no, no. So this is why this book is very important for parents as well as for teachers, because at this age they believe the most in their mother and in the teacher. So these two responsible people can talk to them about this book and why this book is so important and how you can teach them the art of saying no. Okay. Now, why do I adore this book? It is simple yet humorous. So many illustrations are there, and the way it captures the child. It easily captures the child. They will engage it, and you can have philosophical conversations with those little ones, right? You can keep this just for a fun or a silly tone, where I know that, where you know that your kids are going to start shouting no, 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 with more and more enthusiasm, right? And if I ask if the pigeon can drive just to the corner and back, I'll say, why you are saying no, right? You can in between talk to your child and say, why you are saying no, let him drive. No, 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 they will give you reasons why they are saying no, not allow the pigeon to drive. You can ask them why you are saying no, please allow. No, he's being so much emotional, and he might almost cry if you don't allow. This book is highly recommended to any parent, okay, or a carer, anyone who is looking for ways to introduce philosophical conversations and rational thinking without it being heavy handed, or simply wanting an entertaining book to read together. It's not only entertainment, right? It is more than that. You can talk about these conversations which you generally cannot talk with children, okay? And perhaps not for bed, because you don't want them to sleep with a heavy head, with a head of responsibilities, okay? So you don't want them to actually uh, think that, oh my god, I'm so responsible, and I have to listen to my mother, and I have to say no to people. No, not like that. So it's not a bedtime book. What you can do is, you can talk about it on a daily this thing, like naturally, normally, when you are conversing. So this book is very good. When I go to the next page, see, I'll go first. So he's saying, let's play drive. Who will drive the bus? And I'll go first. I'll drive. Come on, just around the block. I'll be your best friend. How about I'll give you $5? Not fair. I bet your mom would let me. You are not letting me, but your mom would. You see how convincing this pigeon is, and I would almost give the bus to drive, right? But you have to teach the children that no is very important, and they cannot. They just cannot, right? Okay, now one more thing. Activities which you can do with them using this book is, you can design a bus which a pigeon can drive. Okay, so you can talk to children saying that, okay, we cannot drive this bus. This bus can be driven only by a bus driver who is very trained. But if you want the pigeon to drive the bus, then draw a bus which a pigeon can drive. So it can be an art and craft activity where they're drawing something humorous, in which a pigeon can sit comfortably and drive the bus. And who are going to be the passengers? You can talk about it. They can be birds and animals, and where will this bus run, right? Where do you think this bus is going to run? So it can be a jungle or a zoo or somewhere. And create a bus. Then you can say that you have to now create a bus that will travel farthest to the sun and the moon. So let them explore their imagination. You give them this imaginative tips. You give them this startups where they can think, and they'll be all creative. This can be done with 6+ years of children, where you are not only using the book, where you are teaching them to be responsible or to say no, but you are also teaching them how they are supposed to inculcate this imaginative things, and create a model of pigeons. They can use some paper, and origami thing can be done, and they can make this beautiful, cute looking pigeon. So I think this book is very, very important, and it will help your child learn to say no, which I think each of us as parent and as teacher want, that they will not be persuaded by people who have ill intentions for them, or who can lead them in some kind of trouble in your absence, right? So making them headstrong in certain situations, I believe, is what we have to do. Probably you might feel that they are getting rude and they are thinking of themselves right now, but when in certain situations where they will get exploited for their emotions, and they stand strongly against it, you'll be proud of it one day, and you will not have to worry about them a lot. Thank you so much, and I'm so happy that I've shared this wonderful book with you today, all of you. And I hope you have enjoyed this session, and I'm sure I will meet you with another interesting book soon. See you all. Bye.